All right, welcome back. Let's start with the power of thoughts. We've already talked about how impactful your thoughts can be, how important having the right mindset is, orienting yourself towards your goals, having goals, discipline, determination, right? Okay. There's a study that came out a while ago. I'd heard of this. I've heard of this for a while now, a couple of years I've known this, but something that again has been reconfirmed. They had a group of people go to the gym, and instead of exercising, they sat them down and they had them visualize their workout for an hour each time. After a month, the people who had just visualized, they had not done a workout, had gained 13% in muscle mass. Now, they failed to, as these studies often do, they fail to add, what they would have gained if they were actually doing the exercises. So the answer to that, I do not know. Maybe it's more than 13%. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's less. I would imagine that it would be a little bit more, maybe a lot more, but that's not the point. The point is these people did not physically pick up a weight. They picked it up with their mind. That shows you how powerful your thoughts are. And these are not trained visualizers. These are not people who have practiced with visualization, right? It's a tool just like any other tool. It's something that you can practice at and get better at, just like anything else. So some people are more visually inclined. Some people see images in their head, some people don't. So they had a group of people who, obviously did a good job visualizing their workouts, gained 13% muscle mass without picking up a weight. And that shows you how important your mentality is. And the thing is that your mind doesn't know, your brain doesn't know whether something is actually happening or you're imagining it. That is why you gain muscle mass. That is why you have anxiety over future imagined events. That is why you can feel depressed over future imagined events, right? You could feel stress over something that's not happening. It's because your brain thinks it's happening right now. Whatever you imagine, whatever you're thinking about, it's like, oh, this must be happening right now. So, same with your dreams. Your brain cannot determine whether it's a dream or not. It is reacting as if it was real life, right? In the present. So it is affecting the hormones that are being produced in that moment. And again, you have domain over those things because you are in charge of your thoughts. I know it may not feel that way. Most people don't feel like there is any separation between them and their thoughts. And they certainly don't feel like they're in charge, but you are. So coming to that realization and beginning to steer yourself, right? I like to think of thoughts sometimes, or I used to like to think of it as a raging bull, right? And you got to run up behind it and you got to jump on those horns and you got to first steer it into the ground to get control of it. And then you can get on and, figure it out and lead it to where you're trying to go. But you gotta be in charge. You can't let your mind tell you what to do. It can tell you what to do, but you don't have to listen. And the more you go up against and show your mind that, it's you're not going to listen to it every time, and you're not going to listen to it when it has self-sabotage on its mind. And the more you do that, the quieter your mind will become, and the more then you can get your mind on your side, right? And then you can get into states where you're like, or maybe you hate running, right? And it's because your mind hates running. So then you get into running, and instead of thinking every moment, oh, I can't wait for this to stop, or when is this going to end? You can, cease that and begin to say, well, I could do this forever, right? I could do this. There's no, there's no end time or end date. Like, what's going to happen? I'm going to fall and collapse. That's how long I can do this for. And the same with any other exercise or really anything that you're doing in your life. You can adopt that mentality of you can't hurt me, essentially, mentality. And who you're really talking to is yourself, because you're your own worst enemy. Like, no one knows you better than you. No one could sabotage you as well as you could sabotage yourself. So as soon as you can get yourself to at least neutral, then you can get yourself to being on your side. And that's truly a joyous place to be. It's really life changing. It's you're a different person. You're with you rather than against you. So that being said, we'll go to some domains where you can take that accountability, that discipline into. So recently, I've talked about this interview I watched with this dude, Stan Efferding. It's on my podcast named Modern Wisdom. Really tremendous podcast, all about health and fitness, mostly psychology related. And this dude was a bodybuilder and was a strong man, and is now has, I believe, his own health and wellness center. And he is a personal trainer and all of the above. And he has his clients. They go through through all the stuff, all the blood work, all the physical testing, and he creates them a nutrition plan. He creates them an exercise plan, and it's not set in stone, as any great trainer would be. You're constantly tinkering and figuring out what's best for your client. And most people are there for fat loss, weight loss in general. And it's interesting. Most of all of his stuff is deeply rooted in psychological practice. It's he has the stats to back everything up, and particularly the stats with his own clients. And this dude is top tier. He works with NFL athletes. He works with anyone who has a lot of money, and who is not playing around. They go to this guy, and he doesn't turn people away in general. So he works with a wide variety of people. But this dude is really on it. He's really on point. Now, one thing he opened my eyes to is 95% of all health benefits come from straight weight loss, which that is really amazing to me. I didn't know that. 95% is a lot. That just really shows you it's like whatever it takes to lose the weight, like literally whatever it takes to lose the weight, it's worth it, because that's where 95% of the health benefits are at. And about, I think it's about 50+% of your health benefits are from when you're a person who's at zero, that you don't do any physical activity, you don't just leave it at physical activity. You don't do any physical activity. Going from zero to the top, or to the going from zero into the like 40 percentile of health, that's what gives you 50% of the benefits. So literally going from someone who just sits down all day in various locations to someone who walks 10 minutes a day, a couple of times a day, maybe, stands more, maybe, I don't know. It's really baseline stuff. it might really just be walking, right? Walking for someone who doesn't walk at all would be a cardiovascular challenge. And yeah, it really might just be one 10-minute walk a day, right? Preferably you would do 3 or 4 10-minute walks a day if you're someone who didn't move at all. But even I think it might just be just one 10-minute walk a day could put you in that bottom percentage of health where most of the benefits come from, coming from nothing to something. So again, 95% of that that losing is just 95% of the benefits is just losing weight. So it's also that is regarding not necessarily cleaning up your diet to a point where you're actually eating healthy. You could be eating absolute crap, but if you get yourself on some type of caloric restriction, then you can begin to lose weight. You could eat freaking chips for breakfast and ice cream for lunch, and you could end up losing weight because you're on a calorie restriction. So that is like the number one most important thing is to get those 95% of benefits to start losing weight, right? Like Diet Coke, that shit is terrible for you. A lot of these drinks that have a lot of aspartame, like aspartame is definitely bad for you. Um, it seems to be that you would really have to, have a an IV of aspartame, or essentially like drinking like 95 uh, Cokes a day or Diet Cokes a day to really get the detriments that they say regarding aspartame. However, aspartame is definitely not good for humans. Like there's no debate of saying that it's good for you. So uh, however, if they can get you to lose weight, right? If that's what you have to do, then do it, right? If you can make different changes, they would definitely be more advisable. But if there are certain things that you just have to do in order to lose weight, losing the weight is worth it. So his his thing is 99% of benefits in general come from sleep, number one, exercise, number two, nutrition, number three, in that order. And everything else is that extra 1%. And I think that's interesting because in the world that I'm in the fitness space, the health space, the things that I'm constantly thinking about, that 1% is really the things that I think about very often because I already have the 99% pretty well down, right? My sleep is great. My exercise is great. My nutrition is great in comparison to everybody else. But if you compare it to people whose nutrition is in that top 1%, or maybe even smaller than that, but people who are really serious about their nutrition, they would definitely laugh at me 100%. So again, work in progress, something that I'm moving towards. But I'm constantly thinking about that 1% of benefits, right? Like cold exposure, cold showers, sauna, barefoot grounding, um, even hydration, right? All those things. That would all be dropped into the 1% of things according to Stan Efferding, right? So it's interesting that I'm looking at those things, but it's all relative, right? I'm not comparing the 1% to the 99%. I'm just looking at the 1% because that's where my next benefits are. And also, I believe like it's a holistic routine, right? It's a holistic health approach. If you can't, you should try and get all the benefits you can from each and every single day. Don't leave health on the table, right? So again, and with sleep, you gotta slash and throw meditation in there because meditation is more powerful than sleep. So again, most people are not gonna meditate all night long. but it's something that you can definitely incorporate into your daily routine, but also into your nighttime routine. You can meditate and fall asleep in your meditation. You can wake up and meditate right away. So, yeah, so meditation, sleep, exercise, and exercise, we could leave it at walking, right? Walking is exercise, and you get huge benefits from going from someone who takes like 1,300 steps to going to 2,600 steps. Someone who takes 2,600 steps, getting to 4,000 steps. Huge cardiovascular benefits, huge drops in all-cause mortality. And that's just walking. So we're talking about walking, we're talking about sleep, and we're talking about some type of caloric restriction, right? Less calories than you are currently intaking. And a good way to track in terms of weight would be to do a 7-day average. So every day you get on the scale, but don't ride the wave of the emotions with the scale. The scale is it's just a story. It's not the story. It's most certainly not the be all end all at all. You could have the same weight on the scale, but lose 4 inches on your waist. So, but with the scale, you don't want to look at it every single day. You're just accumulating data, right? What you track, what you measure, you can change. So you want to do 7-day average and compare your 7-day average to each week as you continue, and then compare your weeks to your months, and then compare your months to months. And that's how you really get a better gauge of what's going on. And yeah, again, it's in terms of caloric restriction, we're not talking about changing your diet in terms of what you're eating, but maybe changing how much you're eating. Definitely changing the time of day, right? You want to eat during the daytime. You do not want to eat at nighttime. That's most people eat their biggest meal at nighttime. That's just really the worst thing you can do for your digestive system, and it's the worst thing that you can do for your sleep. So you really want to prioritize that. This is the only way that you can make those changes is by prioritizing them. What does that mean? It's like you know exactly what it is that you want. You know exactly what it is, how to get there, and you know that anything outside of that is a distraction. So that's when the the blockers come up, the boundaries, right? When other people are tempting you, and mediocrity attacks greatness, right? That's why you see so much hate and so many haters, because people who are mediocre and want to stay status quo are going to attack you. So as soon as you try and make any types of changes, people around you are going to be like, oh, oh, you're too good for us, or even not go that far, but they'll start offering you cookies, or they'll start offering you cakes, or they'll start offering you sugar, and hey, don't you want this? Just, out of nowhere. And it's not really something that they're doing for the most part. They're probably not doing it consciously. It's probably just, subconscious hate, just wanting to keep you status quo. And they're not to be blamed for that. It's not their fault if you take the cookie. It's not their fault if you're sabotaging yourself. It's not their responsibility to look after your health. So those are just some things to think about, some things to play with, some things to do some research on, incorporate into your daily routine. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you learned anything from that. I certainly did. Just wanted to share that information. Again, 95% of benefits come from weight loss alone. So good luck with that message. Anyone trying to lose weight, trying to get healthy or get healthier. Appreciate y'all for listening, and have a great day. Peace.